but I think an area and a session that all of us are very interested in, particularly with it being winter. I'd love to introduce to you Rochelle Akavan, who is the National Training Manager and a Brand Ambassador at Blis Probiotics. So with 30 years of research behind Blis Probiotics, their range works to support the body's immune defenses. This includes supporting your body to fight illness. And we know that with winter upon us, even though we've been social isolating, so there aren't as many colds and flus, we still are picking up those little things, and it's still really important for us to try and stay healthy. So Rochelle is going to talk to you about which Blis Probiotics products can support you to do that, as well as, really excitingly, talk to you through their very well-researched tips to stay well in these cooler months. Thank you, Rochelle.
Thanks very much, and thanks very much. And
sound on your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All good. Can you hear me? Yes, excellent. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. Well, winter is definitely upon us, and now is the time for us all to really prepare for potential winter illnesses. And if you're a mum and you have little ones that are attending daycare or school, then this can be a really challenging time of the year. So let's talk about a really exciting new throat probiotic, Blis, which has been scientifically proven to reduce the likelihood of symptoms of recurrent tonsillitis and also help to support the body's immune system, especially during these winter months. Now, I'm going to share a few slides with you. We're going to go back into science a little bit, but I guarantee it'll be interesting and not too challenging. So just bear with me as I share some slides with you. So I'm hoping everybody can see my video now, my slides, and we'll talk about Blis Probiotics. So our body is actually made up of a collection of bacteria, yeasts, and fungi that make up our local ecosystem. So every living species actually has a microbiome. In humans, it's a jungle of microbes, so fungi, bacteria, and viruses that live on and in our bodies. Now, it might surprise you to realize that there are a number of different species that are found in different parts of our body. The gut or the intestine actually houses 500 to 1,000 different bacteria. And in the oral cavity, 600 to 1,000 different bacteria coexist in the mouth. So the microbiome of our bodies is a bit like a jungle where there's a variety of different plants, good and bad, living together. If the microbiome is healthy and it's in balance or homeostasis, like this beautiful garden, then that's all very well and good. But if there's a disruption in the microbiome caused by disease, then we start to feel sick. Factors that can cause a disruption of the microbiome are things like antibiotic therapies. Probiotics are useful to support the body when we're having antibiotics and other therapies. Now, when we actually have an area of illness or hormonal status or antibiotics or diet that can impact our microbiome, what happens is it becomes unbalanced and it becomes a bit like a jungle. So how can we promote a healthy microbiome? Well, live microorganisms, which when administered in adequate amounts, confer a health benefit on the host. And that is what a probiotic is, or a good bug. And the answer to sustaining your microbiome is having a healthy microbiome. I'm hearing that people can't see my slides, so I'm just going to go again. Can you see my slides now? Yes, thumbs up. Okay, so sorry. Okay. So, as I was saying, what is a probiotic? Well, a probiotic, as defined by the World Health Organization, is a live microorganism which, when it's administered in adequate amounts, confers a health benefit on the host, or good bugs. So, what is a throat probiotic? Well, the probiotics that you're probably most familiar with are those that are gut probiotics. And these were actually first discovered back in 1823 when a Russian scientist couldn't understand why rural Bulgarians were actually living to the ripe old age of over 100 years. And what he discovered was that they were actually drinking fermented milk. And the fermented milk was actually producing a bacteria, which is lactobacillus, and lactobacillus is now one of the many gut probiotics that are available on the market. But here's the exciting news. Research has uncovered probiotics that work in areas other than your gut. And there was actually a professor, John Tagg, who's an Australian, who spent nearly 20 years checking out the mouths of children, can you believe it, in his research lab. And what he wanted to understand was why some kids got sore throats much more than others, why some kids were much more susceptible to tonsillitis than others. And what he found was that sitting in all of our mouths is a bug called Strep salivarius. But about 2 to 5% of people actually have a strain of that called K12. And those that had that strain, K12, actually did not experience recurrent episodes of sore throats or tonsillitis. And hence, a product was developed to support your oral microbiome and reduce the likelihood of symptoms of tonsillitis, and that was Blis, which is a targeted throat probiotic which works in the mouth and throat. And Blis was the very first commercialized throat probiotic, and it is backed by 30 years of research. Now, my eldest son, Oscar, who's now actually 15 and a strapping, healthy rower, suffered terribly from tonsillitis as a child. He would have a rich red sore throat. He would have pussy tonsils, raging temperatures to the point that I thought that he might have a convulsion because his temperatures were so high. And he would have horrible bad breath as a result of the bacteria that was fermenting in the back of his throat, causing the tonsillitis. We'd just get him through one bout of tonsillitis and then he'd experience another one. And this went on for so many years, and it was very challenging to manage. In fact, we went to a specialist and they put him on 6 months of prophylactic antibiotics only for him to break through and still get episodes of tonsillitis. Until he had a tonsillectomy, things really didn't improve. But even after the tonsillectomy, he still suffered sore throats until he was introduced to Blis. So Blis has helped Oscar, and for those who experience recurrent tonsillitis or have a child or family member that does, one of the biggest things that you can do is to try and minimize those episodes of tonsillitis by supporting the balance of good bacteria in the mouth with a product just like Blis, and in fact our leading product, Blis ThroatGuard, which can reduce the likelihood of occurrence and recurrence of symptoms of tonsillitis. Blis ThroatGuard is our high strength Blis product and is the product for those predisposed to recurrent tonsillitis and sore throats. Even if you're not prone to tonsillitis, taking a throat probiotic can have significant benefits for you. Now, as mums, I guess you might be thinking about how to prepare your family for winter and help support their immune systems, especially for the little ones who we know are so much more prone to picking up germs at daycare or at school. So, of course, there are some natural ways that we can support our immune system, and they include things such as eating a high diet in fruit and vegetables, exercising regularly, getting adequate sleep, and certainly trying to minimize stress. We can also take a throat probiotic to boost the good bacteria in the mouth and help support our immune system. So what we really want to do is to have all those good bugs in plentiful supply in your mouth to fight against any bacteria that may enter through the mouth, which is the gateway to the body. And this is the first line of defense that we actually have in terms of boosting our immune system. So we can take a throat probiotic to boost the good bacteria in the mouth and throat and help to support our immune system. Now, Blis is available in a powder option for younger children, and it's suitable for children over the age of 3. So whether or not you've had a history or not, it is beneficial to be boosting those good bugs that sit in your oral cavity. Now, taking Blis Probiotics, it's really important for Blis Probiotics to have time to actually work in the mouth. And that's why Blis comes in a dissolvable lozenge format. So you can just slowly suck on the product. It takes around 5 to 10 minutes for the lozenge to dissolve. We actually recommend for adults, the best time is to take the lozenge at night when you brushed your teeth and just before going to bed. Now, for little ones, if you give them something like that to suck, they're probably like my boys used to be, and the first thing that they'll do is bite down on it and chew it, which we really don't want them to do. So the powder format for children is available. And this powder format, which is available in our DailyDefence Junior product, comes in a powder sprinkle. And so what we suggest doing is simply sprinkling it directly onto your little one's tongue, or otherwise adding it to chilled foods such as yogurt or ice cream so that it just slips down the back of the throat. We really don't want the child biting down onto the product. We want it to slowly dissolve and then proliferate those K12 Streptococcus salivarius strains in the mouth. I hope that you found today really beneficial and taking a little bit of a step back into the world of probiotics, that there's much more to probiotics than just gut probiotics. We also have an innovative throat probiotic to protect your immune system through the mouth, the gateway to the body. So I'm going to stop sharing now and just see if there are any Q&A questions that I can answer for you. Oh, hi to my puppy. Wouldn't you know it, Mazzy? Thank you for sending through that message that was the first thing. He started to bark as soon as he heard my voice, so my apologies for that. Teresa has asked, so are these safe for the whole family? And do they taste good? They actually do taste good. They taste very much like, if you think of those old milk bottle lollies, it's like a vanilla flavour. So it's quite a mild taste, and it just dissolves on the tongue. Where can you buy them? They're available in pharmacies throughout Australia, Chemist Warehouse, Terry White Chemmart, Priceline, a lot of independent pharmacies as well. And you'll find them in the probiotic section in Chemist Warehouse, but you'll also find them in the throat section in many of the leading pharmacies. Is it vegan friendly? Yes, it is vegan friendly. Would these people help somebody that have a sore throat, who has a throat web? I'm not quite sure what that is, so I might leave that one. How important is gut health in humans? Really important to help maintain the stability of that gut microbiome. You know, it's really interesting because some of you may have had, just to sort of bring it all to life, some of you may have experienced a urinary tract infection and were prescribed antibiotics. And then sometimes after you've had those antibiotics, what you can develop is thrush. And that is because you've just disrupted all that natural flora that sits healthily in your genitourinary tract. So it is really important to maintain your own healthy microbiome that sits in various sites around the body. Okay, well, I think that's all the questions. Oh, I have got a few more. What does the taste like for kids who are fussy? We spoke about that. Where can you buy ThroatGuard? As I spoke about. Can you take them if you're pregnant? You know, pregnancy is one of those things that you really have to look at the risk outweighing the benefits. We certainly haven't trialed them in pregnant ladies. So I would just seek advice from your general practitioner. You don't have to keep these in the fridge, was one of the other questions, but you do need to keep them at less than 23 degrees. So, you know, I wouldn't leave them sitting in a blazing hot car at 30 degrees plus. Somebody's asked a question about whether it'll help their son with really bad morning breath. My sons smell bad all the time, not only in the morning with their bad breath, I think. But there is actually another strain, would you believe, that actually is found in the mouth. And that product, hopefully, we're going to release next year, which is specifically targeted at what you call bad breath or halitosis. So I think my time is up, ladies. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you this afternoon, and apologies for my puppy Sage, who now has been quiet.
Thank you, Rochelle, so much for your talk. I'm going to throw to Sharon, who's going to check in on the Facebook before we get to our next session.
Yeah, so lots and lots of great winter healthy tips have been coming through from the community. I'll just go through a couple. So Darren talks about the 3 S's of sleep, salt water, and soul food. I can definitely get into that. We have a lot of people talking about lemon and honey water, so really making your own drinks. We've got Patricia, eating healthy, dressing appropriately, and getting out with the dog. So, yep, there's definitely a dog theme to this.
Yeah, the dog needed to get out.
Yep. What do we got here? Getting enough rest from Laura and staying hydrated. A lot of hydration, which I think is really important. And fresh ginger, lemon and honey, echinacea, vitamin B, vitamin C, and good sleep from Rita. So thank you, everyone. Keep sharing. I'm sure everyone's going to learn from everyone's, because this is what Soupfest is all about, is hearing and learning from each other. So Katie, have you got any winter health things that you've been doing?
I do think salt water is always a good one if you could do it, but
yeah,
lots of water, hydration, both jumping in the ocean and what you put in your mouth. That'd be my biggest tip.
Good job.
Yeah, all my winter swims. So now we're going to